So it's the beginning of the year and it finally happened. It turned 2026. I'm so happy. Um, we last year, the whole theme for 2025 was completion. And we base that from numerology and just like I'm not somebody who follows numerology like stalwartly, so I'm just going to give you like the most watered down thing of it. You just add the numbers in sequence, right? And then when you get to a double number, then you just add those two together, and then that's how that works. So when we have 2025, it was 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equaled 9. And so now here we are, and it's 2026. So we have 2 plus 0 plus 2 is 4 plus 6 is 10, but 1 plus 0 is 1. So we are in the 1, and the 1 is starting all over again with the beginning. So I like that to kind of give us a way to, that's why everything last year was about like, I wanted to, especially in that last quarter of the year, it was about like, how can we clean up the last little tidbits of stuff, right? Is there relationships that maybe, and I'm not suggesting that you go into a situation that's bad, but even just clear it up in here. Do you know what I mean? So, because we all have situations that maybe are uncomfortable or whatever, and that's okay. And I wasn't saying that we had to go out and like make everything perfect, but we did need to try to clean things up in here, not just sweep things under the rug, not just make things like quasi okay, like really clear it up in here. So we come into this space this year, we can start fresh from a different perspective, and everybody has stuff. I was divorced, like I have an ex-husband, there's little dust bunnies in the corner sometimes and things like that. And so the goal was just to kind of sweep those things out, and whatever that means for everybody. And so I think as we move now into this year, coming into the beginning, I would encourage all of us to. I talked about this today in Yoga Nidra that I don't like New Year's resolutions. I don't like them because I think they're very difficult for people to keep, and they're just kind of words. Like people put a lot of words to things, and then by February it's gone. And so, but if we strive to be better every day, that would be okay, right? Like, if you're somebody who wants to be more health conscious, or if you want to be kinder in your actions, or you want to have more follow through on things, whatever the case may be, every day can be a day that you work a little bit closer to that, instead of it having to be this big, heavy, overlooming thing that I'm like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm never going to do this again, I'm never going to do that again. It's just like that is a whole recipe for failure. And then you feel bad about yourself, and then you don't feel successful. And so in everything that we do, we should feel successful. Everything, even when we're having an awful day, we should feel successful in the sense that we just had awareness of our place in that bad day, or whatever the case may be. So if I can just kind of suggest something this year to everybody, is maybe just to have more awareness of yourself. I think if you can make a commitment to yourself that you're just going to be more aware, and what I mean by that is like more aware of the words that I use, more aware of my interactions with people, more aware of how I'm feeling internally in a certain situation, whatever the case may be, right? And so if you can start to do that and that's what real maturity is, I was just talking to Rob about that. It's like we do, right? That's when we start to really see ourselves mature, is when we're really starting to have those levels of awareness on things. It's like, oh yeah, I was kind of being a jerk, wasn't I? Yeah. Or, oh yeah, that really bothered me. What did that make me feel like? What was coming up inside of me? Oh, that reminded me of when I was a kid. That's when you start doing your own work. You start kind of piecing through things a little bit more, and you're able to start to navigate through life consciously as opposed to just being run by your subconscious programming. And for those of you who've been coming to class for quite a while, you know that that's one thing that I always say about everybody that comes to meditation. Like, you're all here because you've all chosen to live consciously, and that's huge. I mean, that's just huge. And when we make a choice to live consciously, we have to be aware that there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come up that's going to make us really uncomfortable. And it's a cool gift. It's a cool gift when we can kind of like pause and look at it and go, oh, that's really cool. Like, where is this playing out in my life? How is this making me feel? How can I take this situation and kind of like allow myself to pull through it in a different way? Because at the end of the day, everything is coming from us. It just is. That's just the way it is. We are a mirror for what is showing up in our life. Okay? That's why I always like the thing about the instant karma. So I'm going to tell just like two little quick, funny, well, just one little story. So I've recently been highly annoyed with people, and I was just talking about this today in Yoga Nidra, and I have no idea why, but everybody is just like irritating me, and I don't like that. I don't like feeling like that. I don't like feeling like these people should be nicer. And like I'm getting annoyed with people, like as a collective whole, and I can't figure out where it's coming from. And so it's gotten so much so that the other day I was at Sprouts and I went to go push the buggy back into the little like cart thing outside. But before I was doing that, I'm walking up to it and I see there's like the big buggies and then there's the little buggies, right? And then the one little buggy was like out in the middle, and I'm pushing my buggy over there and I'm like, man, how hard is it for people to just put the buggy in the right place? And I'm like so angry, right? And super irritated. I'm like, it takes 2 seconds to do the right thing. So I'm like all ready to be all torqued off about this. So and I go and I push that buggy in there, and then I push my buggy in there, and for whatever reason, for some reason, it just like kicked it out and it rolled it out into the thing. And I was like, oh, that's funny. It wasn't even it wasn't even some jerk doing this. It's just this random cart not fitting in the thing. So then I tried to push it in again, and then it just rolled out in the middle of the thing. Then Chris had to get out of the truck. Then he had to push it in there, and we were just laughing about this stupid cart. And I'm like, that's so cool. I love that when that happens, because to me, that's that moment of instant karma. That's that moment of when I'm judging others, and then it just ricochets back at me. Quinn, can you turn the air conditioning? It's a little cold in here. I pay attention to those moments. It's the last one. This something, my husband and I, we were having a conversation this morning, and something that he said really irked me, right? So I'm on high alert right now for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. My astrologer called me and she's like, and I don't know anything about that stuff either. So I just know whatever she tells me, I'm like, yep, she's always right. So cool. But she's like, oh, you're going through da 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 da. I'm like, is that why everybody's just driving me crazy right now? But so she said, or he was saying something to me, and then he left the room, and then I was sitting there and I was just trying to like kind of mellow out afterwards, because we've really tried not to kind of let things kind of escalate, and when he left, I was like, oh, that's really funny. This must be how he feels when I talk to him like that. And I could just see it so clearly. And I'm like, okay, there it is. Like, that mirror is it's always in your face. So pay attention. Let this year be the year that you pay attention, because if we all start to do that and make this like more concerted effort to live consciously, I mean, I can't even imagine what a beautiful world that would be. It'll just be amazing, you know? And then it can spread. It can. When people say, "What are you doing?" that like you're not so reactive, or what's that big pause after I just said that to you, you know? And you can just say, I'm just trying to see my part in it. Like I'm just trying to, then like just one little thing might click off in their mind and maybe they'll start to think like that too. Because we cannot change other people, we can only change ourselves. My dad would always say, you cannot push a rope, you know, you just can't. You can pull along and guide and lead, but you can't push a rope. So don't try. It's not worth it. So, okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get in. Who in here has absolutely positively never meditated? Okay, so we're good. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and sit up nice and tall. And tucking our chin slightly. Closing your eyes. It's nice to smile if you can. Loosen up your jaw and your tongue in your mouth. Just start to be more aware of your breath. If you can, for the next few minutes, we're going to build a relationship with our breath. The breath is the very first thing. It's the very first thing that we come into this world having to do. We have to breathe right away. That breath enters our body and it ignites us being in this world, in this reality. You can feel the breath coming in and out of your nose. You can feel the breath touching the back of your throat. You can feel it going down your windpipe. You can feel your lungs fill up with air and then fall back down again. Allow the air to go down into your diaphragm as well. So start to think in on the inhale and out on the exhale. We're going to change the in to the word peace. So breathing in peace on the inhalation. Exhalation, just think fear, like you're letting the fear out of your body, and it's just going to go right up into space. So peace on the inhale, and then releasing the fears on the exhale. There may come a point where there is no more fear left in your body. And then just let the inhale be peace and the exhale can be blank. So now let's change that inhalation to grace. Just letting these breaths be really slow and deliberate, as if you're enjoying each bite of food slowly on the inhale, saying grace, filling your body with that, and then letting it go. Start breathing in joy. Let's breathe in abundance. And now let's breathe in confidence. Now that you have developed these energies inside of your body. Try to create a mental image of yourself with all of those attributes. Those gifts, those blessings in your life. Notice how you stand. Notice what your face looks like. And then just hold that image. Now that seed that you've created with yourself, everything starts with you. Everything does. So now seeing this part of you supercharged and purified and strengthened and fortified. Just envision that part of you, that essence of who you really are. And start to imagine the difference that you can make in the world, walking into the world that way. A smile on other people's faces as they come into contact with you. The compassion that you show others. The help that you're able to extend. And it's just because you're being the light that you are. We've done this before where we feel our energy around our body, and I want you to imagine now that you have a light that is expanding out around your body. And let that energy connect with the other little bubbles in the room. Allow those bubbles to grow beyond the scope of this room. Just envision that every person or thing that that bubble comes in contact with is filled with the peace and joy and all the amazing qualities that we've just given ourselves. And then allow the bubble to start to contract back. Back into this room. And separating from everybody else in the room. And just over you. And then pull all of that beautiful, strong, fortified energy now into your heart. And you can break your concentration and start to allow some movement in your body. So that's a good way to start the year. Let those things be your intention for this year so that you are really just, pick an attribute that you want to work on every week, If it's to be a little bit more patient or to be a little bit more kind or a little bit more giving, There's lots of people who need help and everybody needs a smile. Everybody does. I live in a neighborhood right now, so I'm going to say this one thing and then I'm going to never say it again. But I live in a neighborhood it's a newer neighborhood, but it's a lot of neighborhoods out here are. And the construction workers in my neighborhood are the nicest people in my neighborhood. They're nicer than everybody else in my neighborhood, except for my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor is super cool. I love him. He's the coolest. But we try to say hi to people and they just nobody even looks up. They're either on their phone or they're just marching with their dog so mad. And I'm I don't know what's happening. But when I ride my bike by and the construction workers are doing their thing, I'm good morning. And they're good morning. Everybody smiles. I'm you guys are the happiest people. I'm so grateful. Can I join your crew? Because I'll bring you guys water and sandwiches. Because they're so nice and so happy, So it doesn't cost anything to say hi to people. It just doesn't. So my challenge to everybody in this room is say hi to everybody that you can. Look them dead in the eye and say hello to them, And notice they start to get a little uncomfortable at first, but we're going to break it. We're breaking the code this year. Starting here in ZenLife, we're going to make it so that everybody's I guess I should say hi too. And just give it, that's, even if we just did that one thing, man, it would be super cool. So, all right. Well, as far as announcements go, this weekend, so this Sunday, or Saturday rather, Bunty is doing his annual teaching. This is different than the New Year's blessing, okay? So if you came to the New Year's blessing, you got your cool bracelet that we get every year. But if you come to the teaching, your heart will be filled and fortified. He is really just a really neat man. My husband and I, we were talking about how he seems different this year than he has, like when we were talking to him and stuff. He just seems different. And I think, we hit what they call the temporal horizon in our life, and things seem different. And even for a monk, and somebody, their life is really like rigid and succinct, and they have to do the same thing over and over and over again, you still hit this temporal horizon. And he started talking about it last year, like, how many summers do I have left? And you start thinking about that. But he just, like this year, he just seemed different. And I was really grateful for everything that he said this year. And so I'm really looking forward to his teaching on Saturday. So please try to come. It's $45 for that. It says 50 on the thing. That's wrong. It's 45. On the website, it says 45. So, and then we have Reiki attunement this month. If you are looking to get Reiki attuned, let January be your month. If you need information on it, if you need, whatever, just talk to me. It's the Reiki community is super cool here. It was funny because Rebecca was saying how she feels like there's kind of like this like mystery to the Reiki community, and it's not really. It's just we're just a bunch of nice people, and but it's really a cool little subset of everything else. There's like you guys in the meditation community, then there's the yoga community, and even within the yoga community, there's like subsets within that. There's like the Kundalini people, and then there's the flow class people, and everybody's got their little thing. There's the Iyengar group, we all got our like little thing that we kind of gravitate to, and then there's the Reiki people. So, and we're all just one big happy family. So I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything, Quentin? Where's the hike this month?
Kids yoga this
Yeah.
Saturday.
Where's the camp? Where's the hike?
Lone Mountain. It's so next Saturday is hiking club. We're going to Lone Mountain. It's in between Usery and the Salt River. So if you took Ellsworth Road, you pass Usery Mountain, and then you get to that point where you hit the hill, and then you get to the crest, and then down below you can see the valley where the Salt River is.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit that crest up on the road at the hill before you start going downhill, there's suddenly Tonto National Forest parking lots on the left and right side. You pull over to the right, and that is the trailhead for Lone Mountain. So it's a cool little hike. It's about 2.5 miles. Nothing too serious. Kind of for those of you that maybe you're talking about. I know Melissa said doesn't like New Year's resolutions, but if you made a New Year's resolution to be more physically active, I won't hold that against you. So you can come, and this is kind of easing into hiking this year. And it's a cool hike. When you get to the top of the mountain, you can see the Salt River and Red Mountain on the one side, and you're high enough up that you can actually look out and see the rest of the east side of the valley from the other. So it's
Cool. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you.